President Trump is under fire again, as you said, for promoting hydroxychloroquine, a drug the FDA has warned against in treating COVID patients. Also tonight, Florida set a new record for one-day deaths because of the virus. President Trump tonight announcing a deal with Kodak to manufacture pharmaceutical ingredients.
My administration is using the Defense Production Act to provide a $765 million loan to support the launch of Kodak Pharmaceuticals.
But moments after that announcement, the president's coronavirus press conference went off the rails, with Mr. Trump once again promoting hydroxychloroquine as an effective treatment for COVID-19, even after the FDA issued a warning about using it for COVID patients.
Many doctors think it's extremely good, and some people don't. Some people, I think, it's become very political. I happen to believe in it.
It was just about 24 hours ago the president retweeted a slew of misinformation about the pandemic. In a dramatic move, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube rebuked the president and his son, Donald Trump Jr., accusing them of peddling false information about the virus. Twitter removed the president's retweets of several versions of this video.
We're America's frontline doctors,
in which a group of doctors make several false claims, including that there's a cure for the virus and that nothing needs to be shut down, all at odds with the recommendations of the president's own health experts.
You don't need mask. There is a cure.
I think they're very respected doctors. There was a woman who was spectacular in her statements about it, that she's had tremendous success with it.
She's also made videos saying that doctors make medicine using DNA from aliens and that they're trying to create a vaccine to make you immune from becoming religious.
Well, maybe it's the same, maybe it's not. But
what's the logic
I can tell you
in
this.
that?
I thought her voice was an important voice, but I know nothing about her.
President Trump left the briefing moments later without taking any more follow-up questions. Jessica Levinson is a professor at Loyola Law School and hosts the podcast Passing Judgment.
This is deadly serious. We're in the middle of a pandemic. And so to be touting medical treatments that have been discredited by the medical community is really dangerous, to say the least. It's hard to see how it's good politics other than to give people hope, other than to try and indicate, that there is some cause for optimism and that this will end soon, just as the president has tried to tell us over the last months.
Over on Capitol Hill, congressional Democrats say negotiations will continue Wednesday with White House officials on jobless benefits.
Part of what we're doing now is really airing our differences. There's discovery and understanding where there might be opportunity or not.
One of the biggest sticking points, the expiring federal unemployment insurance benefits that added $600 a week to an individual's state benefits. Democrats want to extend the payments as is. Republicans want to reduce them to $200 per week, with the goal of having states adjust their systems to provide 70% of wage replacement. One part of the proposal that's getting pushback from both sides of the aisle is a non-pandemic related demand from the White House to include almost $2 billion in funding for a new FBI building.
When we get to the end of the process, I would hope all of the non-COVID related measures are out.
Meanwhile, the coronavirus continues to ravage the country. Today, Florida broke its record for COVID-19 deaths reported in a single day, 186 residents. There are signs hospitalizations are beginning to level off, though. Nearly half of the country is now part of the government's so-called red zone due to rising cases, including Missouri, North Dakota, and Wisconsin. Today, Dr. Deborah Burke said hotspots threaten regions where cases are controlled.
What we're seeing across the South right now is both rural infections as well as small metros and major metros simultaneously.
The outbreak among the Miami Marlins has reportedly grown to as many as 17 players and staff putting their season on hold until at least Sunday. NFL players reporting to camp this week will be subjected to a slew of testing just to get practices going. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Tom Waite. Back to you.
Tom, thanks so much.